we had them wear GSR sensors on their non-dominant hand, and then we gave them a slider to use with their dominant hand so they could tell us how they were engaging with the performance. This is where vocabulary became difficult, because when we piloted this, we said, the bottom of the slider is I'm not engaged, and the top of the slider is I'm really engaged. And people had no idea what we meant. So we had to come up with different vocabulary. So we ended up coming up with two different vocabularies. The first vocabulary was emotional response. So the bottom of the slider is no emotional response, the top is strong emotional response. Now, when we pilot tested this, people understood what we meant, but I was still concerned that this would be hard for people. Like, there's a lot of cognitive load in figuring out how strong am I emotionally responding right now. So I wasn't sure how well this was worked, but it was at least understandable. So the other one that we tried was this love it, hate it slider, which we knew people would be able to say that. Like that's not hard for you to know whether you're feeling, loving something or hating it. And for that one, we had to put sort of a neutral bump in the middle of the slider because the room was kind of dark, and so they know when they were not in the middle of that. So we had half our participants use one slider, half our participants use the other slider. And what we anticipated was that actually there was a mapping between these two, right? That feeling neutral and loving it is kind of like having no emotional response and a strong emotional response. And similarly, that feeling neutral versus hating it is kind of the inverse, right? So what we really thought was that if you took this slider and took the absolute value of it, it should really highly correlate to this emotional response slider. Not a perfect correlation necessarily, but it should be somewhat related. So we had sort of 5 different hypotheses going into the study, but the 2 most important ones were that both of these sliders, especially when you take the absolute value of the love-hate slider, they would correlate with this arousal that we're collecting with the GSR